Okay.
Hi, my name is Jason Bright, and today I will be talking about Kimpton Hotels expanding into the United Arab Emirates. Kimpton Hotels operates high-end, trendy 4-star hotels with attached loved-by-local restaurants, as they put it. Most of their hotels have their own individual identity, but they also have two sub-branded hotels, the Hotel Monaco and the Hotel Palomar. They also operate hotels for other entities. Kimpton was founded in 1981 and currently has about 100 properties located throughout the United States. However, the company doesn't have an international presence except for a property yet to be opened in the Cayman Islands. Why should Kimpton go international? Well, there are 3 reasons: to reach new customers, to increase the value of their loyalty program, and to diversify. People are traveling and need hotel rooms not just in the United States but all around the world. By having an international presence, Kimpton can provide its desired services to customers all over the world, reaching new customers. And that leads to the second point, which is that expanding internationally would add value to their loyalty program. It would add value to their loyalty program because there would be more properties and more destinations where Kimpton's loyalty program members could earn and redeem points. By making the program more valuable, Kimpton could increase the number of people that are members of the loyalty program and therefore occupancy at their hotels. And finally, and thirdly, expanding internationally would lead to diversification and would reduce their risk due to declines in the home market. For instance, when the Arab Spring hit the Middle East, the UAE was largely unaffected, and so its tourism industry was not affected and did very well during the period. And for Kimpton, that means that if there were seasonal declines in U.S. operations or declines due to a slow economy, it could offset that with strong revenue from the UAE. And so why should Kimpton go to the United Arab Emirates? Well, the United Arab Emirates has an economy based on oil, but the government is trying and has succeeded in diversifying the economy with tourism and international business. The UAE has become a hub for international tourism and international business. There are visitors from all over the world coming to visit the UAE, and it serves as a hub for regional operations for many companies. And that means that there are tourists coming to the UAE who need hotel rooms to stay in, and business travelers coming to the Emirates who need hotel rooms to stay in. And most of the hotel development in the UAE lately has been in high-end luxury hotels that are 5-star and above. But there's a need for 4-star accommodations, and the government has recognized this need, and so it is incentivizing with tax breaks and tax waivers companies to come in and open 4-star hotels. And finally, by having a presence in the UAE, Kimpton can use this as a base to launch properties in other Persian Gulf states and other Middle Eastern states. The entry strategy that Kimpton should use for entering the UAE is a joint venture strategy. This strategy makes sense, one, because UAE law requires a local partner or distributor or agent. Also, using a local partner would help Kimpton because government officials and business officials in the UAE like to work with people they know and trust. So, to the partnership, Kimpton would bring its knowledge of operating trendy, high-end 4-star hotels, and the local partner would bring its knowledge of local culture and business customs, as well as being a local presence. And to select a local business partner, Kimpton can use the affordable services of the U.S. Commercial Service, such as its Gold Key program and its International Company Profile program. The type of organizational structure Kimpton should use for expanding into the UAE is an international divisional structure. This system makes sense because Kimpton can replicate its domestic operations in the UAE, and that's the main thing it's bringing to the UAE is its knowledge of how to operate 4-star hotels, and it can bring this knowledge while tailoring its operations to meet the unique local challenges and opportunities presented by the United Arab Emirates. Now, the culture of the UAE is fundamentally a conservative Muslim culture. And so, for instance, men and women there, native Emiratis, dress conservatively. However, the Emirati culture is also open, and there are many cultures present. In fact, about 80% of the population is expatriate and from outside the United Arab Emirates. So, and also because of trade, that means that the culture is going to be open to other values and cultures. And often men and women work together, and women often hold positions of authority in the UAE. Now, one major way that local customs will affect the Kimpton's operations in the UAE is that Kimpton's restaurants will need to serve halal food, and also its restaurants can't serve alcohol or have bars, and that'll be a change from Kimpton's domestic operations, but a change that can be met. And there are a few political risks to entering the UAE. The UAE is a relatively stable country in an somewhat unstable region. And according to the U.S. Commercial Service, there has been no expropriation of foreign investors' property reported in recent memory. One potential political concern would be Emiratization. As mentioned, there's a large foreign national presence in the Emirates, and local native Emiratis mostly work in the public sector and very few work in the private sector, but the government is trying to change this by encouraging Emiratis to join the private labor force. And Kimpton can handle this by emphasizing its willingness to hire local Emiratis or to train local Emiratis to operate its hotels. And another potential concern is labor conditions. With such a large foreign labor force, there is the opportunity for abuse, and there has been the abuse of foreign workers in the Emirates. But Kimpton has a history of ethical business practices and ethical labor relations, as well as corporate social responsibility. And Kimpton should emphasize that it's bringing this corporate social responsibility and ethical labor relations to the United Arab Emirates, which will make it a more attractive option in the United Arab Emirates. So, in conclusion, Kimpton would benefit by expanding internationally. It could reach new customers, increase the value of its loyalty program, and therefore increase membership and occupancy. And it would also be diversified against risk in the home market. The UAE is a great opportunity due to the need for high-end, trendy 4-star hotels in the United Arab Emirates, a need which the government has recognized and is trying to remedy by offering tax incentives and tax breaks to open 4-star hotels like those operated by Kimpton. And finally, a joint venture would be the best entry strategy because the local partner will bring a knowledge of local customs and business practices, as well as facilitate business because local Emiratis like to work with people they know. And also, a international divisional structure would be the best structure for the international operations, because it would allow Kimpton to replicate its successful 4-star business practices in the UAE while tailoring its business operations to meet local opportunities and challenges. Thank you.